Yo, what is going on, you crack-a-lacking cricket dude? Today we're gonna be playing some games with Shadow Rider. I tried out a couple different things yesterday on my stream, which if you're not following the stream, you should go do that. First link in the description, give it a click, give it a follow, come back to the video, and we're gonna talk about this Shadow Rider build that I was playing around with and made some adjustments to on the stream the other day. So let's get into that. So of course we got the 4/4 Shadow Rider in here, main attacker, main draw engine, main energy acceleration, everything, right? And alongside that, we still got the Gengar and Mimikyu, and that's basically most of it. And then we have this Marshadow in here with the Shadow Intimidation. I was just looking for something that was not a 3-prize Pokemon to kind of work with, and I was like, I want to try and make this build a non-Alchemy VMAX build. I want to try just not using Alchemy VMAX and see how that feels. Another big thing that I'll talk about in a bit is I also had Great Ball to this build, so we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But I was like, Moltres was a problem, and I ran into a couple games. So I was like, I just need to answer to Moltres, and the Marshadow was doing that with that Shadow Intimidation, imitation, my bad, Shadow Imitation attack for the Psychic Colorless. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's non-GX attacks and use it as his attack. I was like, I need something that can KO a Moltres that is not worth 3 prize cards, so I can try and like set up some late game shenanigans to try and win games, because it felt like I just couldn't win games. So I was like, all right, Marshadow does that, so let's do Marshadow. The other Pokemon that I might include instead of Marshadow, just depending on how they both interact with other matchups, I haven't tested this out fully, is Indeedee GX, because that also one-hit KOs Moltres after they've attacked, whereas Marshadow can KO it. I'm actually Marshadow also KOs it after they attacked. But you can hit them with the Marshadow preemptively, so that if they do attack with it, then they can't, if they would get knocked themselves out. So it has a little bit of an edge up against Moltres specifically, because with Indeedee, they would need the 3 energy on it before you'd hit them with Indeedee. So usually it means they've attacked with the Moltres. So Marshadow has like a little bit of an edge specifically against that, but the healing from Indeedee can be really good against Inteleon, or against anything, to be honest. Like if they hit you and they're going for a 2-hit KO, but it's like a clean 2-hit KO, maybe they do like 1 damage more, that heal of 20 from Indeedee could be a big deal, especially in Shadow Rider. You don't really care about having 2 prize Pokemon on your bench. You got Calyrex V's hanging out there all the time. You got Dedenne and Crobat hanging out there, and you actually actively usually want your opponent to KO a 2-prizer, because then once they've KO'd a 3-prizer, or if they've already KO'd a 3-prizer, then you can get that reset stamp to 1. The other big thing I was trying out in this build was trying out those Great Balls. I saw Fouché doing this initially. I was like, that's pretty cool. And I'm usually a huge fan of Great Ball, and I tried out in a ton of different things. I was like, why have I not thought about this yet? That's definitely something in my something I think about always trying to add to decks is Great Ball and try out at the very least. So I was like, all right, gotta try out the Great Ball, and they felt pretty good so far. Still needs a little bit more testing, and we're gonna play some games today, so we'll see how they feel. And you guys let me know your thoughts if you guys have tried Great Ball, or your thoughts on Great Ball in general. I've always loved trying to include Great Ball in decks, because it feels like it does add a interesting level of consistency, because it's not the most consistent card because it looks at the top 7, but in the right decks it feels really good. Or when you're specifically trying to set up something really aggressively, like we're trying to set up these Shadow Riders, we're looking for V's, we're looking for VMAXs at all times constantly, they can feel pretty good in there. The Evolution Incense sure consistently finds the VMAX, but what if we want V's, you know? So great, something like Great Ball theoretically is really good, and it has been really good. It also has had its, Great Ball moments where you just whiff, or you don't hit the Pokemon you're looking for. So it had this Great Ball moments, but early on, I've had some games where it's just been ridiculous. You play down 2 Great Balls, you get 2 Vs. The next turn, you play a Great Ball, get a VMAX, and it just chains from there and feels really good. Whereas, like, when we're only playing 14 Pokemon, I still have 2 Common here as well. So we got a lot of Pokemon search going on alongside the 4 Quick and the 4 Fog Crystal. Calm, you need that Pokemon in hand, which sometimes you just don't have. Great Balls, you can just aggressively play those out. Especially when you're like rocking 4 Calm, some of them eventually just become dead. You just don't have enough Pokemon in hand to support multiple Calms, and if you draw into multiple Calms, you're just like, well, I can use this one. This one, the other one's kind of dead though. So the Great Ball is really just an aggressive card that I've always really loved to try out in decks. So we're got it in here for right now. I did have 2 Gengar Mimikyu right before this video, but I was like, you know what? I've heard people talking about playing just 1, so I was like, I'm just gonna try playing the 1 and see how it feels. So I put a 4th boss, which is something I've loved in Shadow Rider a lot, but it feels like it's sometimes really hard to fit that 4th boss. And I think if you play like an Alchemy VMAX build, because you're getting big 1-hit KOs on their active, you have that option. I feel like 4 boss is less necessary, but we're playing this build where we're not always building up to that huge 1-hit KO. The extra boss is definitely very nice. For stadiums, no Swell, but I do have the double Marshadow with the resetting hole, and then we also have the ordinary Rod to potentially recover those and then use more resetting holes on Paths to the Peak. And I played my own Path to the Peak in here for the Luke Metal matchup, basically. Besides that, I don't really think you need the Path to the Peak, but Luke Metal is still pretty popular, and you can have some really cool late game scenarios in any matchup where you go like Path to the Peak plus reset stamp, especially when you have this Marshadow in the deck. You can get them like to a lower price count. If they take a knockout on a 2 prize or into a 3 prize, you get that good old stamp to 1 Path to the Peak play you can set up. So Still really cool for that. Even if we don't play up against Luke Metal, you can still find viability for this card in pretty much any matchup because everyone's playing to Dene or some kind of ability most of the time that they want to use to help them get out of those awkward Marnies or reset stamps. So still has viability against pretty much anything, to be honest. And yeah, that's the list. 4 Air Balloon, 1 Switch. I'm not worried about Raichu right now, but who knows? Pikarom might make its comeback in some games. Alrighty, here we go. Something I don't think I mentioned in the intro. I also cut back on the draw supporters a little bit. I'm down to 2 Marnie, and then I'm playing 4. Looks like some kind of Bronzong Box. Might play the Moltres. We'll have to find out. I'm now up to 4 Research, 2 Marnie. More Pokemon search, and sheesh, I don't want to lose all of my researches turn 1, but you know, why not? I guess why not? Then we're gonna go for a house play initially here, or try and get a house play set up here. There's a Swell, but we have plenty of Marsh Shadows to bump that and get our path to the peak and play to get around the Center if we need to with the Shadow Rider, but we can just house Poltergeist and then kind of work it from there. So that's going to be the game plan here. Oof. Drawing the ordinary route when we're about to discard a VMAX isn't great, especially when we only have 2 VMAX in the deck. So I don't love it. I don't like it at all. So we're going to be rocking 2 VMAX this game until we draw some prize cards, and then who knows, maybe we get access to that 3rd. But yeah, don't love to see that. Hate to see it, actually, to be honest. Do not see a switch card here, which is another thing I don't love to see. Sheesh. Throw some Great Balls. Another V. Draw another Great Ball. Grab ourselves a... I might just grab a Marshadow and thin out the deck a little bit here. I might actually not house yet. We might just wait to house next turn. The more I'm thinking about that, the more I like it. So I think I should have chilled a little bit there. And maybe just gone Quick Ball for a V. Never Marshadow. The Quick Ball got hit the first V and then hold the second Great Ball. And now I think I'm just going to pass. And we're going to house next turn. I don't mind using the Marshadow here and kind of burning that and getting through that. Although, if they do get the knockout on this Marshadow, I don't have any ways to bump into the Chaotic Swell and get my path to the peak in place. So maybe I was a little bit aggressive with this Marshadow as well. I think I could have played this turn a little bit slower. I was like super, you know, wanting to get off this turn 1 house, but turn 2 house is really good against their current board state as well. They don't have anything set up really this turn. They haven't really progressed their board state a whole ton to have a great turn 2. So they got this turn 1 going on, but this next turn we can just house up to 7 and then kind of take our pickings on what we want to go after a little bit more. So I think I was a little bit aggressive here with these Great Balls. Could have played the first one to try and find a V, or maybe even just Quick Ball away a Great Ball, grab the V, and then just kind of pass there, to be honest. I think I was a little bit aggressive. This hand, very nice though, and it is an ADP deck, so that definitely changes things. I did not expect to be playing against ADP, to be honest. I thought this definitely was some kind of... And the Alter Creation for 1. I actually really like this play. I actually really like this play. Yeah, huge fan of this play. I think it's actually a really good play that more people should be doing in this matchup. And I'm thinking a little bit here, so that's why I'm slowing down the talking and trying to figure out what I'm doing. We're gonna house Fog Crystal. I don't know. Marshadow. I want to set up a VMAX right now. So Fog Crystal. I want to grab an Energy though, because if I draw into a VMAX, I want to be able to do that, but that's like unlikely. I just want to go with the Calyrex V, put that down, and then go with the Crobat for 5. And then we drew the VMAX. I think this was like what I expected to draw into, to be honest. Like, I was like, this should be what we get here. I'm going to go ahead and thin out the Energy here because we don't need another Energy this turn. We can only put 2 more in play through the accelerating of the abilities here. So, do like that, and then we can Calm, grab another one. Not use the Great Ball yet. I could have gone Great Ball first, but like I'd rather just keep the Great Ball around and guarantee the Calm and have the Great Ball. Like as we thin out our deck very aggressively, we'll very easily be able to make Great Ball almost be like a guaranteed hit on whatever we want it to be. So not that big of a deal to play like this. We're gonna retreat. Gonna throw. How many switch cards do I have left? Probably gonna go with that Poltergeist next turn because we just want to get a knockout here. So I think I'm gonna throw this Air Balloon. I might still throw it here. I do want to draw the extra card. I almost want to draw the extra card so much that I might Quick Ball away this, actually. Thin that out. I didn't want to, like, Great Ball first. Although I could have Great Balled into this Calyrex, to be honest, and then Quick Ball that away. But then, for this whiffs, I don't have anything to Quick Ball away. So I think it's best to get rid of the Great Ball there. If fail it, I guess I will throw this here because we don't know how the game's going to go for sure. And then we're going to house. And we're going to try and take out the ADP here, I think. I could have gone, like, boss. I still could have gone, like, a boss on the Zam. Or the Zacian even, and then housed and then knocked out. Going after the Zacian isn't terrible here because that's like the one thing that can KO my Gengar Mimikyu next turn. So yeah, going after it like that wouldn't have been terrible. And they chose not to Intrepid Sword there, which of course always suggests that they maybe don't have the play in the hand. But I think I'm just gonna go with the Poltergeist anyways. Maybe call the bluff. Did not hit for the 250, but their hand doesn't have a whole ton going on. It has a metal saucer, but I don't even think they have a metal in the discard pile. So worked out for them here, but I think we're still in a fine spot, and we're gonna be able to move this Gengar Mimikyu next turn, get into the Calyrex, and kind of go from there a little bit. Run to the Zam here happens, but I play a lot of boss, and like I said, I still got that Path to the Peak in the deck. We're just gonna start bossing around these things, going after whatever seems like the biggest threat, which currently is Zacian. So we're just gonna go KO Zacian next turn, or maybe the ADP if they put more energy. If they commit more energy to the ADP, they could definitely do that. Commit more energy to the ADP, but they got the Zam the active now, which is we can't KO that with the Calyrex, and they have control over their hand again. They're not housed, so they're gonna get under that Poltergeist number as much as possible. So I'm not doing too much damage to Zamazenta with the Gengar Mimikyu, but we still have that Path to the Peak, so we can go for that Path to the Peak play. And we still have a Marshadow in play. We did lose. We are down our Ordinary Rod, so we don't have the Ordinary Rod, so we can't recover any more Marshadow. So that last Marshadow, hopefully our opponent doesn't like see that line as like my out to get a Path to the Peak in play. And I do have to make sure that I don't think the Path to the Peak is in the deck for sure, but there's a Bronzor. We could actually even go after the Bronzor, because this allows them to move their energy around, which means they can get into any attacker they would want to on their next turn. So we could go boss Bronzor and then boss ADP, boss Zacia. But it really depends on where they leave their energy this turn. If they put them both on one thing, I'm probably going to want to go after that. If they leave them split up, I will probably not. If they leave the energy split up, I'll probably go after the Bronzor. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see where their energy ends up and what we think is the biggest threat. Second Bronzor, so I'm probably not going after Bronzor this turn at all. Now we're probably just not chasing Bronzor. We're going to let Bronzor be Bronzor. And we're probably going to go after the ADP for the 3 prize cards. Try and get into another Calyrex would be the main thing here. Or if they leave 2 energy on the active, I wouldn't mind KOing the active if I do find that Path to the Peak. So I think that might be our go-to here, is just if we find Path to the Peak, just knock out the active. And that's a Path to the Peak, so knock out the active, I guess, is the line here. Actually, I wanted to play this Great Ball first, and I get punished by drawing into the Marshadow. Match. Path, retreat, knockout. Sounds good to me. That removes 2 energy from play, so that, that limits my opponent's stuff they can do next turn, right? Like if I KO the ADP or the Zacian, that's still 3 knockouts total. And I only remove 1 energy from. I remove an Aurora energy from play, as well as a metal energy there. So we remove a couple more energy from play, which is a pretty big deal, right? So we move that extra energy. Specifically, removing the Aurora energy could be huge, right? We don't know how big that could possibly be, what attackers they could get into. I don't know what they're playing. So it's that much bigger to remove that energy from play for sure. And there's the conceit. They don't have a ton set up. If they're not getting a KO this turn, we're definitely winning. And seems like their hand was not it. So we get a pretty clean dub there. Path to the Peak, working out against the Zam just like it's supposed to. Getting into it again, probably open the Calyrex V, actually. I almost want them to take a 2-hit knockout, and we don't know what we're up against, so the Marshadow might be pretty important, even on the first turn, possibly, but probably not. Marshadow start themselves. Calyrex sleeves. We got a mirror match going on here, maybe. In which case, we probably want to house. Probably want to use house. We'll see. Comes a quick ball, and our hand is pretty good as well. We got a crystal, or the fallen crystal, the quick ball, energy to work with, Crobat and research. I don't really want to put Crobat in play. Of course, it is the Ice Rider, so house not as important. I'm kind of fine if my opponent takes a KO on this V. I think I've actually misplayed quite a few times, overextending into the house in this matchup as well, and then it's kind of like 2 free prize cards for my opponent, or 3 free prize cards for my opponent. Not free, but an easy knockout for my opponent to take later on in the game. So I gotta try and reel it in a little bit with my house plays. I house a little bit too much. But yeah, let's see what happens here. I could also go with a Shadow Mist turn 1. Oof. Don't love that Marshadow top deck at all. The whole Calyrex squad is in the deck, which is really good. I actually really hate that Marshadow top deck. I don't like that. I almost want to bench the second one, but that also just kind of feels bad. I'm going to quick ball the Crobat because I don't really want to put Crobat in play either, especially when they take an early knockout on something like a 2-prizer. I don't even really want the Marshadow in play, to be honest. But not benching any of them feels worse. So I think we'll go like this. See how this pans out. Got the 4th B, so that's good. To the hand, nothing special. I'm just going to go ahead and pass over to my opponent. Yeah, I could have gone with a Shadow Mist in the active there, but then I'm hitting for less damage next turn and, ramping up slower to that potential one-hit KO that we really want to get to eventually. So I don't love the idea of going with the Shadow Mist there just because of that. And it doesn't really... It stops the path to the peak, but we got a Marshadow in play already for that first path to the peak of my opponent. So we already have something to kind of deal with that. So I don't really need to worry about it. And I doubt my opponent's going to go chase my Marshadow anytime soon as well. As long as we get a Calyrex VMAX set up in the active next turn, you know, start threatening them, start attacking. They're not going to be too concerned with my Marshadow anytime soon. So I think this is about, you know, it's solid. And Drizzile there for the level ball. It's not the most efficient use of Drizzile, but it's usually a good sign, or a bad sign for me, good thing for my opponent, because that means the rest of their hand, it's probably got a Research or a Marnie. I guess I don't really want to get Marnie here. I don't hate my hand, to be honest. It's pretty good. The VMAX, the energy to excel, a Great Ball to maybe find another VMAX, start chaining VMAXs, draw ourselves into a draw supporter maybe. Whereas this hand, quite a bit worse. Once again, not terrible. We can definitely work with it. We got the Dead Change. We have the house option. We're not gonna house. Like I said, I'm a little bit too greedy with that play too often, but I would love a way to shuffle my deck off the top deck. Calm would be a sick top deck here. Ooh, and just a pass from my opponent, so even sicker. And that's a Calm. Very nice Calm there. I appreciate it. PTCGO, thank you. Let's get this cruising. Oof, we got the attack though, and I think I am gonna go for it here. And I'm probably going to go with the Dead Change as well. Going to go ahead and use this Fog Crystal, thin out the Gengar Mimikyu. Like I said, not great in this matchup, and I could regret this later on, but we do have an Ordinary Rod in the deck as well, so we can recover it potentially. Ooh, no energy in this hand. A lot of Calyrex, though. Let me tell you, a lot of Calyrex going on here, but no energy. We are going to get a knockout here. This is another VMAX? No, not this time. A lot of energy there, though. Even just thinning out any Pokemon there could have been pretty good though. But yeah, that's rough. No energy off that Dead Change. No draw supporter either. Marnie off there though is very good. And I actually probably should have attached the Air Balloon to my active here. Very possible my opponent Marnies me this turn as well, like they did last turn. Because they don't need a Melanie this turn. I'm sure they wouldn't mind using Melanie and getting extra energy in play. But they don't need to. So that's usually like something you can kind of play off a little bit from your opponent is, do they need to Melanie to attack? Do they not need to Melanie to attack? And if they do, that means that's their supporter for turn. They can't use Marnie. They can't use Boss and attack. They could Boss, they could Marnie, but they also can't attack. So you can always play off that a little bit. One of the things that really limits this deck. Ooh, and they're actually going after him. Ooh, they're getting my Marshadow here. This is big, especially if they have a path to the peak to back this up. I'm really hoping they don't. We still have our Ordinary Rod in the deck, and who knows, maybe we top deck it, maybe get a little bit lucky. But if they don't have a path to the peak right now, I'm not too worried. I'm going to get worried next turn maybe, though. But here comes the level ball for the Drizzile, and let me guess, for the path to the peak. So now I'm a little bit worried. This does not feel great, I'm not going to lie. We'll see. Oh, it's a Quick Ball. That's not. They could still have it in the hand. They could still have path to the peak in hand. Quick Ball, sort of water. Going to grab another Sobble, I assume, here. And they get to use that Ride of the High King, which means they don't have to Melanie on their following turn. There's that path to the peak. That's our second Marshadow down. I did contemplate benching the second Marshadow. It just felt really, really bad to do such a thing. But this kind of feels worse. Top deck Ordinary Rod would be pretty sick, though. Okay, we can't get lucky 2 times in a row. Great Ball, fail. That's fine. Just kind of want to get out of the deck, get my own path to the peak. Grab this Marshadow. We're going to go ahead and throw that on the bottom of the deck this morning. We really got to find this Ordinary Rod. It is crucial. And hey, good. I don't even know what else to say. 2 Pokemon. Let's get back double Marshadow. How about that? Got those back in there for next turn. Attach and Max Geist for the knockout. Not for the knockout, for the hit. And we're doing 130. And actually, if we attach next turn, we're only doing 160, so it'd be 1 energy short. But now with these Marshadows in the deck, we got what, like 2 Quick Ball, 2 Fog Crystal, and the 2 Marshadows alongside, or 2 Great Ball and a Calm. So a ton of Pokemon search available. The Marshadows themselves, we have a ton of energy left in the deck. I think we have 10, I believe. Yeah, 10 energy left in the deck. So finding the Marshadow plus an energy off this research next turn should not be a tall task at all. And then we're going to get cruising and start building up for some big damage with our Calyrex. Yeah, it does kind of stink to maybe lose this reset stamp. So you know what? I wouldn't mind if my opponent Marnied me, but I also just like having a research in my hand. But we'd theoretically be drawing into the cards where we'd be researched anyway, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal, I don't think. So I wouldn't hate getting Marnied here, I guess. We're only drawing 4 of the potential 7, or I guess, well, yeah, 4, because we top deck before we research. Yeah, but you know, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't hate it, but there's a Melanie, so we're not getting Marnied. And now we're just going to hope to hit everything. And that shouldn't be, like I said, it's not going to be that difficult to hit a Marshadow plus some energy. That should not be a tall task at all. Our deck should definitely be able to accomplish that on this next turn. No problem, no problem. And I think we actually have every energy in the deck. I don't think we have any prize, which means even if they knock out a Calyrex VMAX with 3 energy, we can get that 1-hit KO on the following turn and close out this game in 2 hits from here. We can go knock out the active and then 1-hit KO. Ooh, the Tool Scrapper coming down for my Air Balloon. I don't like that. I like my Air Balloon, so I can move this Calyrex out of the way. But like I said, we can let them knock this thing out. If we accelerate 5 energy into play this turn and then 4 on the next turn, I think we'd still be a little bit short, actually. It would be 5, 6 plus 4, 10. We would actually be short. So this thing actually has to survive for us to be able to pull off that play. But they're set up to boss KO it anyways. So to be honest, this is actually looking like a pretty close game. They go with the 130 here, which is interesting. It's interesting that they go with the 130 here because now they have to use boss this turn, which means they can't Melanie the turn after, if I'm not mistaken. And we got the Air Balloon, so we can run away this turn as well. But we've got the energy, got the Marshadow. Like I said, shouldn't be an extremely tall order, and it's not. And we're gonna draw an insane amount of cards this turn. We have the one in the active. Like I think I have one more here somewhere. Just really thin out the deck, utilize cards. I even might want to set up this Marshadow, but I might have to wait for that till next turn, to be honest now. I want to bench this just in case of Stamp Plus. What do I have left? I do want to see what I have left in the deck, to be honest. 3 energy. 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I think I did prize my last. I do have 1 card in the deck I'm not seeing right now. I don't want to play the Fog Crystal to see it. So... max guys for the knock. We're doing a lot of damage now. What are we doing? 280? Yeah, 280. Cleaned it up. But yeah, if they do take this knockout on my bench one, they accelerate 4 energy into play, but we 10 damage short on the dub. And they're not going to bench another V for me, I don't think. Like, they're not going to put a V down and be like, all right, you have this win condition now. They're going to try and ride this one out for the rest of the game. The problem with that is they did not. They should. I feel like they should have used the big attack from this VMAX last turn and use that max lance. They chose not to, which was an interesting choice to choose to not max lance, knowing that we're probably going to knock it out on our following turn, or we might be able to. So they really didn't get full value out of those energy, which seems a little bit off. But it's still winnable for my opponent for sure. We got the Marshadow in play, and if they chase Marshadow, we definitely just win the game. I don't see how we ever lose if they chase Marshadow. They really can't chase Marshadow here. They really got to go after this VMAX, and then go after my Dedenne on the following turn. So, and we'll see what they put together here. They grabbed Marnie, which, to be honest, is not it. That's not what you want to do. But they have played 2 boss. Actually, I didn't even realize that. They have played 2 boss. And this deck does not play a ridiculous amount of boss at all. And there we go, 2 energy. We got the Marshadow in play. Yeah, they were pretty aggressive with their bosses this game, weren't they? They KO'd my Marshadow. Did they KO Marshadow twice? No, they KO'd my Marshadow. And I guess maybe they lost a boss somewhere in there. I guess they haven't bossed twice, right? They maybe lost boss in there somewhere along the way. They just grabbed Crobat here, I believe. Did I just see that wrong? They can't evolution instance for Crobat, so that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, they're gonna hit us here. Makes no sense to use the big attack this turn, so probably just gonna go ahead and use the Ride of the High King, knowing I can't 1-hit KO them for sure. We see my hand though. I've got the 11 energy, that 340 damage with that max Geist when we have 11 energy in play, so we know we're cleaning up this Calyrex VMAX this turn. That's why I still love such a high energy count in this deck. I'm playing 14 basic energy. It doesn't feel that difficult to get to this high energy in the late game right here, like these kind of scenarios, to get these big 1-hit KOs on these VMAXs. It doesn't feel that difficult. And there we go, 11 max Geist knockout, especially when we have the Ordinary Rod in here as well to help recover the energy. These knockouts are not that difficult, and yeah, big 1-hit KO there. And that's gonna do it for this build. I'm definitely gonna try out some more Alchemy VMAX and come at you guys with an updated Alchemy VMAX build soon. I want to work on that build again. I've been seeing a lot of different things being played in that build, training court, stuff like that. So a little bit of testing to still be done there for me personally. So I still need to try some stuff out in the Alchemy VMAX, you know, builds. But yeah, gonna be coming at you guys with that next for a Shadow Rider build. But I've been liking this one. The Great Balls, like I said, it just feels aggressive, which I feel like this deck, this is what I was kind of lacking when I was playing before, just like aggressive Pokemon search, and the Great Ball kind of fills that void a little bit. Not done testing with it yet, but so far it's felt pretty good. Definitely recommend you guys try it out, and I'll see you tomorrow.